Good morning, everybody. MG here, MGCovers, bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video, Sports Betting Preview for Week 9 of the NFL season. Super excited to get into that. We're going to give you all my lines for all the games for today. Before we do that, if you have not subscribed to the channel, greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Big shout out to all my followers. We're gaining probably about somewhere around 50, 60 a month. So would love to hit my goal of 2,000 subs before the end of the year. And definitely need to put out some more content. I think I made a preview video like this last week. So we'll do a couple NHL sports betting previews this week as well. If you want to follow me on social media, MGCovers, covers spelled with a Z. Give out a ton of content on Instagram as well. Before we dive into preview, had a really solid day yesterday. I started to play a lot more volume here with college football. This had, I think, 2 live wagers and 2 NHL plays in that as well. So 16 plays total, 0.7 units. So $700 for me. Good day, 21% ROI, which is good. And how about the closing value? Minus 0.3. And like I've always said, closing value, one of the most overrated aspects of sports handicapping. So most important thing is, are you profitable? Second most important thing, are you getting a good return on your investment? If you're getting like a 2%, 3% return, it's not worth investing money in whatever sport that you're wagering on. All right, so enough of that. Let's dive into power rankings here for Week 9. You can see there Tennessee. We did play Tennessee. We had Tennessee -1. Close game. Could have won it. And that's true for a lot of NFL, but lost it. Kansas City was -4.5. We did play that. Looks like they got a touchdown here early. And that brings us to the next game. We're going to have a ton of injuries in NFL today, and we're going to basically tell you my philosophy when handicapping injuries. So you got Minnesota. Kirk Cousins is out for the season, torn ACL. And I learned this from a mentor, Bob McCune. He talked about this. It's very difficult to handicap a game when you have a substantial contributor like the quarterback for NFL. So you would ask, well, how do you handicap it? Well, the only way to do it is you would have to bring in subjective factors, right? Because you got this guy named Jaron Hall that's going to start for Minnesota. We don't have any data on him. All the data we have for the model was based on Kirk Cousins. So how do you handicap the game? In my opinion, you can't. You can, but you have to bring in subjective factors. And once you bring in subjective factors, you sort of dilute the model. So why not play games where you have consistent stats? I mean, the stats that you're looking at are from the players that are actually playing in the game today. So it's a more consistent model. So that particular game, even though we have Minnesota -2, I would skip. And to tell you the confidence Minnesota has in this Jaron Hall guy, they've already signed Dobbs, so probably anticipating him starting moving forward. However, that being said, what you will see a lot is this is basically a public line move. And let me see if I can pull up this line here for Minnesota. And because, whoops, let me go here. Give me 1 second to do this. Because a lot of times what will happen is they will overvalue. See what we get here. Let's scroll down here to Pinnacle and take a look. I want to see what they opened the line at. Well, actually, it hadn't changed much. They opened the line at Minnesota +4, so it's moved down to +3.5, which is interesting. And I think that has to do with, I think Atlanta is going to start. Is Atlanta going to start Heineke? I think that's right as well. So, again, that brings in another element to it. You got 2 new quarterbacks today in a game, so again, very difficult to handicap, and one that I would more than likely just going to pass on. Okay, next one we have is going to be the Rams. Same deal here. It looks like Brett Rypien's going to start for the Rams. We have Rams -1.5. Books line for that one is Rams +4, +3.5, depending on the book. And again, that's a real good example. The line opened up at Rams -1. Now it's at +4. So about a 4-point move. And that's generally what I classify as a public line move, which means everybody knows why the line is moving. And more times than not, they tend to overvalue the injury. Meaning, I'm not saying to play the Rams, but a lot of times that's generally how it pans out. But for me, the way I'm going to cap that is I'm going to actually pass on that one as well. Okay, we keep scrolling down until we get to, whoops, looks like I hit. Actually, hang on a second. I think I typed in something wrong here. Give me 1 second, y'all. The Washington line is not minus 100. It should be, I'll go back and correct this. Yeah, it should be 7, basically 8. So in this particular game, we have really good value. Both teams not having great seasons, but we have via the model -8 for Washington. The line is actually +2.5. So we have about a 10-point differential there. I would play Washington on the money line if I was going to play it. No need to play the +2.5. I've covered that a gazillion times. And depending on the book, you can probably get this somewhere around, +130 to +140. So good money line play there for Washington. That will probably be a play. And that brings us over to the other side over here. And we have Chicago and New Orleans. And I think this is a great example here. New Orleans is playing great. I think the public's probably way overvaluing New Orleans. And Justin Fields still not back for Chicago. They're back up. I think Bargent is how you pronounce it. Been a serviceable quarterback, but that's a huge line. New Orleans today is, that line went from +5.5 all the way up to +9.5. Chicago +9.5, New Orleans -9.5. So in my opinion, we're getting a ton of value there in Chicago. Regardless of the teams, regardless of who's injured, it is difficult to beat a team in the NFL by more than one possession. As you know, the majority of games end in a margin of 3. Second most popular margin is a 7. And everything else is in between that. So it does happen, right? Teams get blown out in the NFL, but it's still difficult to do overall. So definitely like Chicago in that spot. Now, if we go down to the next one, Giants and Vegas, what's interesting about this game, Vegas has fired their Josh McDaniels, fired their GM, so a little bit of turmoil. Sometimes that can work to an advantage, I think. Sometimes a coach is cancer. Sometimes it's a player that's cancer. It just depends. So I don't really factor that into the line, sort of a subjective factor. However, interesting enough, we have the Giants -10. And those stats did not include Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is back. He's going to start for the Giants today. And we can get the Giants for +1.5. So definitely like the Giants here. Again, I'd probably play that on a money line. You could probably get maybe +115. Let's take a peek and see what that is. Somewhere around in there. And it opened up at +3, and now it's down. Yeah, +107. So you can get just a little bit better than even money. And then finally, the only one left to take a look at is going to be the Jets here for Monday night. We have the Jets -2. Really good defense. Chargers give up a ton of points. Not a great defense. And let's see what that line is. So you can get the Jets for +3.5. So you probably get +150 at least, money line. Yeah, +165, 150, depending on the book. So just to review, games alike for today. We like Washington +2.5, already playing KC. Chicago +9, Giants +1.5, and Jets +3.5. And I will tell you this, on my totals model, has been real successful this year. We have the Washington New England over, I believe, 41. And before I go, I want to show you something interesting. As you guys know, I changed the NFL model crazy. I just didn't like the results. Got off to a bumpy start, so I made some pretty drastic changes to this model. And it had a ton of volume. It had 12 plays total via the model. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it went 5 and 5, cashing 2 nice dogs. And if you calculate weeks 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, it's gone 21 and 17. which is really solid. So super excited about that and anxious to see how well it does today. So anyway, so that's the plays. If you want access to all my models, we have NHL underway. I'm going to release NBA power rankings tomorrow. You can get access to all my lines for all sports, $50 a month, huge value. And you also get access to all my coaching videos as well. Have about 150 coaching videos on the website. If you want access to everything I just mentioned, in addition to all my plays, $100 a month. The best value is $500 for an entire year. If you pay that outright, it'd be about $1,200. So you save about $600 on the year. That's the best value. You can learn a ton, basically like getting an associate's degree in sports betting for $500 for the entire year. Link to join in the description box. Good luck today. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.